Yeah, so I've been shooting with it now. That's another 20 shots. And that's, again, because I always say the center point isn't that important. You can adjust it. You can already see there's a certain vertical spread here. I should mention that I'm always around 10, about 11 meters or so. Yeah, what should I say about that? Elgamo Model 300. I don't know the exact year of manufacture. I know they started being built sometime around 1970 and stopped in 1975, somewhere in between. So the rifle must be 50 years old. Of course, I just installed the rifle scope and I don't feel like taking it off again because it will probably stay on and the shotgun will stay with me too. That's a good sign, which means I'm somehow satisfied in the broadest sense. This is a perfectly normal break barrel rifle made by the manufacturer Elgamo. Yeah, you've probably heard of Gamo before. That's the same thing. Elgamo is the old name until, I don't know, the mid 80s or whenever. You can check Wikipedia. For that, they changed their name to Gamo, and their full name is Gamo Outdoor Sports or something like that. Or Gamo Outdoor Sports. Anyway, they must have manufactured this thing at some point. There's already an F mark on it, which indicates it must have come into the country after 1970 or including 1970. It says Model 300 on it, caliber 4.5, and there's a serial number. It starts with a letter and then has 5 digits. It says made in Spain back here, around that area. That's important because Elgamo also manufactured some of their products in Brazil. And I don't know if it's true, but somehow people seem to prefer the Spanish production. It's supposed to be better. Well, I reattached the stock. I made a separate video showing how I did that. The whole thing. And yeah, what can you say? It's just a break barrel rifle. Not much to say about it. It's an adjustable rear sight for elevation and windage. There's a front sight tunnel above the GR. I always think front sight tunnels are great because then you can't bump into something and break it with the GR. Otherwise, it's just a break barrel. Click, click, click. I'm not hunting anything with it, but it's perfectly normal. It's a spring air rifle and it feels really nice, even when cocking it. And the trigger is surprisingly good. That's why I told myself, back in the day, they just made better quality stuff. So I should buy an old rifle. Check out how the trigger is. The trigger isn't a competition trigger, but it's definitely better than the experience I've had with newer, cheaper air rifles. Speaking of affordable, how much did I pay? I paid, I think, $72 without this scope, which is from my spare parts box. Just because probably no one could imagine what an Elgamo 300 was, I think it was a bargain. So if you're still looking for one, it's not that easy to find a Model 300 in Germany. We'll have to search a bit. The biggest problem is always that when such things are manufactured, we have a different energy limit here in Germany than the rest of the world. That means if they manufacture an air rifle in Spain that is supposed to have 24 joules, then it has to be restricted, and that can really have negative effects sometimes. Not with that one. I think this one shoots quite well. 1,000. Why is there such a weird attachment lying here? Well, I don't have any mice in the house. Well, not right now. And the problem was that thing had a really massive upward shot. I didn't use open sights. I started out with a scope and had 2 different ones on it. So both of them shot over it from 10 meters, and then the elevation adjustment of the scope gave out. Instead, I just used the hammer method and wedged a bit of cardboard to the scope. You can see there's something kind of white between the mounting ring and the scope. That's 8 layers of cardboard, and it's from the target board here. And that's why it looks so chewed up. That was the first attempt with 2 layers, and that was the second attempt with 8 layers. Yeah, and that's what came out of it. As I said, it's 20 shots. As always, I say the front side doesn't matter. The back side is important because they should all lie nicely together. It's a bit hard to see here because you all just see them as a group in terms of length, but I noticed that most of them landed exactly where they should have. And the lower ones, that's just a bunch of outliers. I can't say exactly where they come from yet. It could be, for example, that it's the particularly creative scope mounting that's to blame. But I would say that basically the precision potential is relatively high. Just an old shotgun, old shotguns shoot better. I'm tightening it up a bit more. That could shift the point of impact again, but that's just how it is. As I said, that's just a break barrel rifle. You usually can't say much about break barrel rifles. The most important thing for me is really the trigger, and the trigger is okay. Sure, it scratches just a little, but it does so very smoothly. And then it comes. So I would say there's no pressure point, but it's very unexpected, yet in a way that I can handle really well. Man, that's how it should be, really. A pressure point would definitely be nicer, but then it would also cost a lot more money. The trigger, I'll hold it up to the light. It's all plastic here. So even 50 years ago, they were using plastic in the trigger. Is the trigger blade just plastic? I can't feel it, but it looks like it has a casting mark in the middle, then it would be plastic. If it should be metal, so be it. There's a screw behind it for adjustment. I haven't messed with it myself yet because I assume the previous owners have already adjusted everything as best as they could. And you can find relatively little about the article line. The article I saw said that he messed with it and you can adjust the weight a little, but that's about it. So not much changes when you turn it. So you have to live with the trigger as it is. And I would say for 72, I can live with that just fine. Like I said, I want to keep it. That means something. If you can shoot it cheaply, definitely go for it. I like it. Like I said, it works. I think it's great. I'm not an expert. I did it myself. You've all probably seen the video already. Yeah, me, good. So far, I find it good. By the way, the scope can also contribute to that because it was originally a Hospo scope. I can give it a try. I plan to do something. About 5, 6, 7, 8 years ago, I made a video about this scope. I'll try to hold it up to the camera. This is going to be interesting. I need to hold it sideways. No, I know that doesn't fit. No, this way works better. You can see something. No, you can't really see it. Not really. Well, a little closer. No, that's actually wrong. You should actually keep some distance, just 10 centimeters. So you can see a little bit. There are a lot of lines in there. And that suggests that this fine piece is a crossbow scope because of the many different distances you can cover with it. 2001. Yeah. But as for the scope, like I said, this isn't about viewing tubes. You can screw on whatever you want there. What else is there really to say about it? Back here, it also says elgamo in small letters, and it's written as one word. Also, by the way, on the system sleeve, elgamo is also written in small letters as one word. That's what the company used to be called. Well, yeah, I would have liked to share more. When I think about it, I'll post the link to that American site. Actually, it's three separate pages with 3 different link addresses. There's a lot more written in English about it than I could tell you. What does the shotgun shoot? I haven't transferred the data over yet. I always like to have this evaluation with me. 6.7 joules or so. So if this is still the 50-year-old spring, then respect. And you shoot that pretty well too. I mean, I could take a look at it again sometime when I have the time to see if maybe the spring is worn out. And that's why there's a difference in strength, which makes a difference in height. It can't really be the barrel, because at least it shoots straight. The only possibility left would be that the barrel locking mechanism is somehow worn out. But don't feel anything here. And when I flip it back up, it makes a nice solid click. So, just can't imagine that. I would most likely suspect the scope, that it's just getting shaken up and isn't mounted properly, that the cardboard needs to be replaced, and that it got stuck in between. Well, whatever. Anyway, I'm keeping it, not just because I made the stock myself, because I refurbished it nicely. I'm running out of chatter ammo, 1,000. At least I still have dental appointments, so I can scare you with that. That's something already. So, thanks again from the guy with the big orange hands, who always has to turn off his camera all by himself. Yeah, and I hope you got some entertainment value out of this short little video clip. Pulled.